Today on FSI, we are going to be breaking down the Rams and the Cardinals from a betting perspective. Now, we're currently 22-6 in our official moves on Twitter, so make sure you're following that account. I've done all the film research, he's done all the analytics, so we can give you the best information to make an educated decision on the game. I'm your host, Tom Cross, and to my right is our analytics expert, Stephen Fu.
Thanks for tuning in this week. The Rams are on the road as a 3-point favorite. They're minus 150 on a money line, and the Cardinals, they're plus 130.
Now, I was a little bit shocked by the spread. I thought this game was probably going to be a pick'em. The Rams are the better team, so Vegas did get it right. Now, when you look on paper, both teams obviously are coming off a horrible loss, but the Rams, they run recently over Tampa Bay. I feel like this game might not be bet terribly hard just because both teams were losers, and they were losers to teams that they were expected to beat.
Both these wildcard teams are coming off disappointing losses against sub-500 opponents. Both the Cardinals and the Rams lost by exactly 3 points last week. I do anticipate a lot of money going towards the Rams, so them being a 3-point favorite does seem fair to me.
Quarterback Jared Goff had his worst game of the season. I don't know how he rebounds from this, but he had 2 interceptions, and of course he had a fumble while running the ball. Sean McVay was very upset, so I think they might limit his downfield throws in the next game and really focus on the screen game and the run game to set up that offense.
Kyler Murray is having a phenomenal season both passing and running the ball. However, he did injure his shoulder several weeks back, but that was over 14 days ago. He's had plenty of time to rest his shoulder, so I expect him to be fully healthy for this week's game.
Now, the Rams' offensive line has been playing some good football. They only allowed 5 out of 28 pressures on Jared Goff, so they're doing their job up front despite missing Whitworth. Now, when you look at the Cardinals, their defensive line is a little bit beaten up. Obviously, they're missing their best pass rusher, Chandler Jones. So I actually got to give an advantage here to the Rams. I expect Jared Goff to have time in the pocket.
The Cardinals' offensive line has done a great job through the beginning of the year. But over the last 3 weeks, the performance has declined significantly. He's been sacked a total of 8 times in the last 3 games, and the Rams do have the 3rd most sacks this year at the rate of 8.5%. However, I do think the Cardinals' pass volume will get a little bit lower now that Kyler Murray is fully healthy. So I think it's pretty evenly matched here between the Cardinals and the Rams line.
Now, the Rams, they got plenty of weapons. Of course, they got their tight end, Tyler Higbee. They got Ryan Reynolds, who's kind of emerged as a 3rd wide receiver for them. Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods are always effective. They got to get the ball in these guys' hands more often. I think that's what they're really missing from their offense. But when you look at the other side of the ball, Arizona, their defensive backs are very talented. Of course, Budda Baker leads that secondary along with Patrick Peterson. So I got to say that this matchup is a draw. Make sure you're paying attention to the injuries to see if there's any weaknesses on either side.
The Cardinals have one of the best weapons in the game. DeAndre Hopkins, the 4-time All-Pro receiver, has the 4th most receiving yards among all players. However, the Cardinals' passing offense will be matched up against the best defense in the league. The Rams are giving up a season-low 6.2 yards per pass, so Los Angeles clearly has advantage here.
Now, the Rams, they had a big splash play, a 60-yarder by Cam Akers. So on paper, they look like they might be able to run the ball, but overall, they really haven't been that effective in their yards per rush. They need to go ahead and step that up, and I think they're going to focus more on that in this game. Now, the Cardinals, they have a mediocre run defense, so this would actually be a good time for the Rams to assert their dominance, which I do think they will.
Cardinals have a very dynamic quarterback that can both run and pass the ball effectively. They're currently tied in the #1 spot for 5 yards per carry. The Rams actually have a pretty good run defense. They're 4th against the run, so I do think it's evenly matched here.
Now, at the end of the day, one team is very good on defense, and I like defense, and I think that wins championships. There's not going to be anybody in the stadium, so I feel like the Rams do have an advantage here. It's going to be very hard to contain Tyler Murray, but they have a lockdown secondary, the Rams do, so I feel like they're going to be able to focus on the run and shut that down. I would just buy it down to 2, and I think I'd take the Rams here.
The Rams defense has solidified themselves at a top tier unit. However, the offense has been on a steady decline since the beginning of the season. They can't run or pass the ball effectively, so I have to side with the Cardinals here. Arizona is balanced on both sides of the ball, so I think there's great value buying up them to +4 points.
Now remember, we can't predict PED use, injuries, or the weather, so make sure you follow our Twitter for our official moves. We're 22-6 and we are murdering the sports book, but that does it for us. Do me a favor, smash that like button and subscribe. Tell us who you're going to be taking in the comments below.
We don't care about favorite teams here. Our focus is on making you money. Follow social media on Twitter, Instagram, or our webpage. The links are below.